about how I'm personally preparing for grad school, academically, practically, mentally, all that stuff. Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. If you don't know me, my name's Kenzie. I'm 23 years old and I'm from Alberta, Canada, and I'm currently a psychology undergraduate hoping to pursue grad school to become a therapist. I feel very motivated to enter the field of mental health and therapy because, of course, we have that stereotypical I want to help people, but it's true, I really want to help people have more fulfilling lives. I enjoy working one-on-one with clients. I feel like in my day-to-day life, I kind of take on that listening and empathetic role, and I really do think it would be really meaningful and impactful work. I like the idea of community mental health and private practice, so I've created this channel to document my journey towards becoming a therapist, and if I do go the private practice route, this could maybe be a good way for clients to find me and maybe see if I would be a good fit for them. So in this video, I'm going to talk about how I'm personally preparing for grad school, academically, practically, mentally, all that stuff. So first thing I did is kind of research different graduate schools I can go to and different programs, different avenues towards becoming a therapist. I know personally I was originally really considering a master's in counseling and then becoming a registered psychologist. My current degree is in psychology. I'm kind of leaning towards a master's in clinical social work. I feel like it might be a better fit for me just in terms of grad school programs and career. But I'm still kind of deciding between the two. That's just kind of the direction I'm leaning. That could be a whole other video on its own, deciding between psychology and social work. So I might make a video on that as well. So once you figure out what kind of program you want to look at, you can look at location, acceptance rates, how much money, how long it is, if it's year-round or just September to April, their entrance requirements, do you have the recommended course load for it, do you have the volunteer and work experience that you need, if you have to move, what's the cost of living in that city, can you reasonably afford that. Also, some schools offer more financial funding opportunities, so that's something to consider as well. Of course, if you are in a different stage of life and you have a family, can you move with them, or do you maybe need something a bit more flexible? List out the pros and cons for all the different programs. Take a look at application deadlines. I actually am a huge nerd. I made my own spreadsheet of different programs, so I'd recommend doing something like that, kind of categorizing it. Really just audit all of the programs you're interested in and see which ones would be a great fit. Most people recommend obviously applying to more than just one, so it's not like you have to pick one, but also realistically, you probably won't have the time and money to pay for application fees if you want to apply to like 20 different ones. So kind of narrowing it down, figuring out what you want, how many you want to apply to is up to you. And then once you have your programs kind of picked out that you're kind of interested in and you know the application deadlines, see what's needed for those applications and start early. For one of my classes, we actually had to write a letter of intent and CV for a grad school that we are interested in, and that was super helpful because I already have it now and I'll obviously need to tweak and edit it when I do apply, but it's good to start brainstorming, seeing different ways you can talk about your strengths, everything you've accomplished. I'm assuming it's gonna make when I actually go to apply a lot easier. A lot of schools also need letters of recommendation, so if you're in school trying to make sure you're making connections with different professors, and if you're wanting to apply to a program with research involved, maybe being a research assistant with a professor or doing an independent study or anything like that. And also when you're picking out programs, make sure it's accredited for the career path you want to pursue. So now how I've prepared academically. Like I mentioned, you want to take a look at what relevant coursework you'll need for that grad program and making sure you're taking those courses in your undergrad degree. And you want to be aiming for a high GPA. A lot of programs just look at like your last 2 years of your degree, so don't be hard on yourself if your first 2 years weren't your greatest. I know for mine they weren't anything amazing, but also making sure that you're not taking on too much so that you can keep your GPA high. And this is also a really great opportunity to discover different courses and topics that you do like. Through all the courses I've taken, I've really learned a lot about what interests me and what I'd like to do in the future. So it's a great way to learn a bit more about yourself in that way too. And you'll probably have to take some statistics classes, a standard psych degree. At my university, you need like an introductory statistics class. And then I'm also taking a senior level applied statistics class. Another thing that I've done academically is I'm in the honors program at my university. So some grad programs do require this, some do not. A lot of the ones I'm looking at don't. And it's actually kind of funny how it happened. I had actually reached out to my supervisor last year about doing an independent study this year, which is just a 1 semester thing, whereas honors is 2 years. So I knew that having some research experience would be really beneficial for me. So I met with her and she actually encouraged me that I should apply for the honors program and it might be better suited for me. And I was really hesitant because it's essentially adding a year to my degree. I'm in my 4th year currently, but I'm in the 1st year of the honors program. But I'm honestly so happy. I took a leap of faith and I just did it. I've met some really amazing people. I've had some really amazing opportunities. And because I was planning to graduate after this year, I was able to take a couple less courses this year because I'll need to take my honors thesis classes next year. So I'm able to work a bit more and have a bit more balance in that way. It's actually been so amazing. I'm researching something I'm really passionate about and I'm super excited. Yeah, there's lots of different ways you can get research experience. It doesn't necessarily have to be an honors program. Now, typically for grad school, you'll also want a bit of practical experience and volunteer experience and some other things. So for volunteering experience, I have volunteered for a behavior analysis clinic, pretty much recording data and implementing behavioral protocols, primarily with children with autism spectrum disorder. And then I also currently volunteer for my university's peer support organization. So a lot of universities have this. It's like a supportive listening role and it's fully confidential and it's for university students to have someone to speak to about things, and you get trained on different listening models. You learn about a ton of different resources that you can give clients. So I'd highly recommend anything like that if you're hoping to do counseling or therapy in the future. And then for work experience, of course, not all of my work is really relevant. I've waitressed and bartended, and I've worked at Starbucks, and I've been a cashier before. So those ones aren't really super applicable. Of course, if that's all you have, you can make it applicable in the way you word it. But in terms of actual applicable jobs, because I'm wanting to do therapy, more counseling-based programs, my dance teaching one is relevant because I'm managing classrooms, group dynamics, working with children. If you're doing like experimental psychology, that one I probably wouldn't put on there, but because I do want to be a therapist, I think it is good to add. And then my current job, I'm not going to say too much about, but I work in social services, so that one's applicable as well. So yeah, you want to make sure that you have good grades, relevant coursework, some volunteer experience, and some work experience ideally. Alright, so now there's the emotional and mental prep. So I know for me, even in like the last year, I've really learned that no matter how busy you are, it's really important. Never stop taking care of yourself. I do feel like I've kind of prioritized school and work the last few years, and I have noticed that taking a toll on me. So I'm really actively working on making sure I'm not denying my own needs, wants, comfort. And of course, it's normal to be busy and productive, and I do enjoy a busy life. But I 1000% just burned myself out. I want to work hard for my future, but it's a balance between working hard for your future and enjoying the present as well. If I'm going to grad school to become a therapist, I'm assuming the topics will probably be emotionally taxing. They'll probably be pretty heavy sometimes. So I'm just trying to make sure that I really do pour into myself as well. And I think that'll be something really important to keep going throughout my career as well. That's always been a weakness for me, so I'm really trying to foster that right now. Also trying to manage my expectations. I can't be perfect at everything. I can't do everything to 100% that I want to, unfortunately. I'm trying to prepare that it will probably be really stressful being in grad school. I have a hard time saying no to things, so something my supervisor actually said to me is every time you say yes to something, you're saying no to something currently in your life. You can't just keep adding, something has to give. So before saying yes to something, take a look, be like, okay, is there anything that I am okay saying no to? Do I have room to give? And sometimes you just don't, and that's okay. You can't please everyone. So yeah, managing my self-care and boundaries is something I'm really trying to work on so I can carry that through grad school and my future career. And that's a lot of what I'm hopefully going to be talking about on this channel. Alright, now financially preparing for grad school. I would suggest regularly budgeting as a student. I know we think it's lame and it's hard and it's restrictive, and it doesn't have to be. I made a video that I'll link in the description on how I budget as a student and kind of different steps you can take to become financially literate and be comfortable in your finances. I think it's really empowering. So taking control of my finances now will help me in the future when I'm in grad school and paying for grad school, paying for life while being in school. Maybe you'll have to start thinking about, okay, how can I find roommates in that area? Is there someone that I know that maybe I could live with for a bit cheaper? Are there any scholarships or grants that I'm going to apply for? One of my goals was to graduate my undergrad without any student loans, which just personally makes me feel a bit more comfortable in the future. If I go to grad school and I do need to take out loans, it won't be as scary for me. And 100% that's not feasible for everyone. I totally understand that. But I've worked like the entire duration of my degree. I've been a full-time student. I work in the summer. I work while I'm in school. I try to get high-paying jobs. I've lived with roommates. I haven't gone on any super expensive trips or anything. And luckily in Canada, our student loans aren't actually too bad. They're pretty low interest. So if you do take out loans, do not feel bad about that at all. Like, it's a great option. That's why they're there. And school in Canada is also a lot cheaper than it is like in the States. So your debt probably isn't even that much if you do take out student loans. So again, don't feel bad about that if you do, but that's just something I've personally tried to do just so that I'm feeling a bit more comfortable financially for grad school. And it also totally depends on your relationship with money. Something I've actually done, and this is very type A, and you do not have to do this if you don't want to, but I've made mock like monthly budgets for like different cities, different grad schools, like how much tuition would be, how much I think an apartment might cost in that area, groceries, gas, taking a look and being like, okay, how much do I have to make to be able to afford this? Will I have to take out loans? What's this gonna look like? And I highly recommend it. It's actually kind of fun. Again, very type A. And then next I'm going to talk about setting goals and creating a plan for success. So of course I kind of talked about academically, you want to get high grades. So I think it's really helpful to set a goal. Of course, we're all going to get a grade we don't love at some point, but maybe you can say, I want my average to be a certain amount. If there's a GPA you want, a letter grade, personal goals. So I think I'm a really good active listener. One of my skills that I'm trying to develop a bit more is being a bit more assertive. Obviously not in like a rude way, but I think it is really helpful if your therapist is able to challenge you on certain things. I think that's how you grow. So that's something I'm really trying to work on just in my own personal life and not being too passive. And also my career goals. What would my dream lifestyle as a therapist look like? What populations do I want to work with? What modalities would I like to offer? What sort of environment would I like to work in? So some of these things I'm still trying to figure out. I mentioned I'm interested in both community mental health and private practice. So if I do private practice, do I think I could take on the added responsibility of managing a business? And I do think I've always been a little bit more entrepreneurial and have liked the idea of being my own boss. So I do really think that would be a good fit for me. I also do enjoy being social and I like having coworkers and talking to them. So I'm excited to learn more about myself and kind of see which would be a better fit for me, or maybe I could try both, who knows? And I think future education and practicums and all those things will help me kind of figure out what's the best fit. And I would actually recommend talking to your loved ones in your life about this too. It's been really helpful for me. Sometimes I'm like, this is getting annoying, I'm talking about grad school a lot, but everyone in my life has been so helpful and I'm so grateful for them for having these discussions with me, letting me talk about pros and cons of different avenues, different programs. Lean on those people in your life, and I think it's important that while you're busy in school, you're working towards your future, not neglecting your relationships. So yeah, I think that kind of covers how I'm personally preparing for grad school. Of course, this whole channel is kind of to document my process of preparing for grad school, so there'll definitely be more videos on this topic. If you have any specific questions or anything you'd like to share, please leave it in the comments. I'd love to read it. I'm very excited to get going on this journey. I'm really looking forward to my future. And if you're in the same boat, keep going. There will be hard moments, but you just gotta keep believing in yourself, taking care of yourself, but also continue to work hard. So yeah, if you'd like to see more videos about my life as a student pursuing grad school to become a therapist and how I'm balancing my life and wellness and all my different hobbies alongside that, I'd love for you to subscribe. I really enjoy personal finance, reading, and other cozy hobbies, spending time outdoors. I like baking sourdough, fitness and well-being, and just overall trying to live a more fulfilling life. I will see you in the next video. Thank you.